All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, it is that time of the week, folks, my weekly picks in the world of the National Football League. Now, this past Thursday night, I picked the Los Angeles Rams to go on the road and defeat the Seattle Seahawks. And that's exactly what they did, as the Rams are looking to keep up with the Arizona Cardinals for that top spot in the NFC West. Now, with that said, we have some good action on tap for tomorrow, as well as the Monday night affair. And with that said, here are my picks for week number 5 in the 2021 NFL season. Now, you are going to have the New York Jets traveling to the UK to take on the Atlanta Falcons. Both of these clubs come into this contest with a record of 1-3. And for the Jets, they're looking to build off of the momentum that they got when they upset the Tennessee Titans at home last week. You look at this young Jet team with their first year head coach, Robert Saleh. They're very green, no pun intended, and they're trying to figure it out. You have a Falcons team on the other side. They're trying to figure things out as well. But the one thing that I think the Falcons have going in their favor right now, as opposed to the Jets, is that they have a veteran quarterback in Matt Ryan. And of course, Matt Ryan has seen his fair share of battles throughout his stellar NFL career. And I think that veteran savvy and veteran presence will be just what Atlanta needs to get the 28-17 victory tomorrow morning. Now, you're going to have the 3-1 Green Bay Packers traveling to take on the 3-1 Cincinnati Bengals. And for this Cincinnati Bengals team, they're hoping to stay ahead of schedule. And I say that from the standpoint that they've come a long way very quickly. Joe Burrow is back and he's healthy at quarterback. And as Joe Burrow goes, so do the fortunes of the Bengals. But you look on the other side, and you have one Aaron Rodgers at quarterback for the Pack. And make no mistake about it, Aaron Rodgers is a bad man with the football. He's a guy that, you know what, this more than likely is going to be his final season in Green Bay. And I think he's going to try to go out with a bang. And I don't see the Bengals slowing him nor the Packers down tomorrow, as I'm going to take Green Bay by the score of 31-20. Now, in the NFC North, you're going to have the winless Detroit Lions traveling to Minneapolis to take on the 1-3 Vikings. And for the Vikings, a break here or a break there, and this team is easily 4-0. But at the end of the day, you are what you are. For the Lions, they simply cannot get out of their own way, as they've been competitive, but they just have been unable to get over the hump. I look at the Vikings. This is their third straight home game. They lost a tough one last week. And what a better way for Minnesota to try to get on track by hosting the winless Lions. The Vikings come into this game favored by 10 points, and I think they cover. I'm going to take the Vikings at home by the score of 30-17. Now, you're going to have the 1-3 Pittsburgh Steelers hosting the 3-1 Denver Broncos. And ever since Pittsburgh went on the road in week 1 and knocked off Buffalo, things have really fallen apart for them. I said it last year, and I'll say it now. Pittsburgh is throwing the football too much. Ben Roethlisberger is not the quarterback that he was in his prime, and I think the Steelers really, really need to focus on running that football with rookie Najee Harris early on and often throughout this contest. Now, T.J. Watt is back for the for the Steelers. We saw him last week against the Packers, but I think this D can step it up. But the bottom line is they need some help from their offense. And I think they've got to get that ground attack going, especially when you think about this pass rush that the Broncos have, which includes veteran Von Miller. I think Pittsburgh will get back on track, but it won't be easy because Denver is a lot better than people are giving them credit for. But I'm going to take the Steelers at home by the score of 24-20. Now, down in Florida, you're going to have the 3-1 Tampa Bay Buccaneers hosting the 1-3 Miami Dolphins. Now, Tampa comes into this game favored by 10 points. And I know that they don't have Rob Gronkowski again. He's probably going to be out for a bit with the ribs. And they also don't have Antoine Winfield Jr. at safety for this contest as well. So at this point, Tampa really has to rally the troops because they have so many injuries right now in that secondary. The Bucks, just like it was last year, the Bucks have started off slow, and I say slow from the standpoint, yes, they're 3-1, but you know what? It hasn't come together for this team yet, and I think it will. I look, they had a tough game last week versus the New England Patriots. Of course, we know about all of the hoopla about Brady going back. You have a Dolphins team right now that's going with Jacoby Brissett at quarterback because of the injury to Tua Tagovailoa. But the bottom line is the Dolphins. You want to say that they're out of it, but just when you think the Dolphins are out of it under Brian Flores, that's typically when they get their best performance. So I look at it like this. I think this game is going to be closer than people expect. I still think Tampa Bay pulls away at the end to get the 34-24 win, but they're really going to have to work for this one tomorrow afternoon. Now, you're going to have the 2-2 Washington football team hosting the 2-2 New Orleans Saints. And for New Orleans, they got themselves a huge shocker last week when they lost at home in overtime to the heavily underdog New York Giants. For the Saints, they've been an up and down team so far, and this is what I have expected of them. When the Saints are running the football and playing effective D, they're winning. And I think New Orleans has to get back to that. On the flip side for Washington, when we saw them win the NFC East last year, a lot of it was due to their defense and their pass rush. Their defense has not been there this year so far, as teams have really had their way with this Washington defense. Washington has to find a way to try to put some pressure on Saints quarterback Jameis Winston. And if they don't do that and they let Alvin Kamara at running back get going, they could be in for a long afternoon. New Orleans is the better team heading into this game, and thus I'm going to take the Saints on the road by the score of 27-17. Now you're going to have the 3-1 Carolina Panthers hosting the 1-3 Philadelphia Eagles. And for Carolina, they're hopeful that a visit from the Eagles is just what they need to get back on track after last week's reality check on the road against the Dallas Cowboys. No Christian McCaffrey once again for Carolina on offense. But I like what I'm seeing so far from Sam Darnold, as he's almost rejuvenated. I can't say almost, he is rejuvenated, being that he's in a new offense and he has talent around him to get the football too. You look at Philly played good enough to keep up with the Kansas City Chiefs last week, but good enough to keep up with the Chiefs and good enough to beat them are two different things. But offensively, Philly and Jalen Hurts want to try to build off of that. But the bottom line is this Panthers defense is not going to let them do that. And because of that, I'm going to take Carolina at home by the score of 27-20. Now you're going to have the 2-2 Tennessee Titans traveling to take on the winless Jacksonville Jaguars. And for Tennessee, I know that they had some injuries last week, but they walked off of that field at the Meadowlands knowing that, you know what, they gave one away because they dominated everything except the score. But for Tennessee, you know what? Credit to them because they've stuck with Derrick Henry and they've gotten him going. And I know that they have the talent there at wide receivers injured right now. But nonetheless, this team is still predicated offensively on what Derrick Henry can or can't do. And I expect Henry to have a big offensive production day versus this Jaguars defense tomorrow afternoon. Now, for Jacksonville, they've had some extra time to prepare for this game as they lost on Thursday night on the previous week on the road versus Cincinnati. We know all about the controversy right now in regards to Jaguars head coach Urban Meyer. And honestly, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if before all of this, if Urban Meyer had the support of the locker room. I really don't think he has it now. And because of that, I'm going to take Tennessee to the 31-19 win tomorrow. Now, tomorrow in Houston, you're going to have the 1-3 Houston Texans hosting the 1-3 New England Patriots. And the Patriots are 1-3, and they've played a lot better than a 1-3 team. But to quote former NFL head coach Bill Parcells, you are what you are. One thing that you have to like about the Patriots so far is quarterback Mac Jones is not playing like a rookie. I've said it before and I'll say it again. One thing that has helped Mac Jones is the fact that the system that he is in with the Patriots is very similar to what he learned at the University of Alabama. He gets that football out effectively and quickly, and most importantly, he doesn't force the ball and try to make a lot of mistakes. And I think that's big for his maturation process as a young quarterback. For the Texans, right now, it's Davis Mills at quarterback. And we've seen what Patriots head coach Bill Belichick can do over the years defensively to confuse a young quarterback. I think tomorrow will be no different. And because of that, I'm going to take New England by the score of 27-17. Now you're going to have the 3-1 Las Vegas Raiders hosting the 2-2 Buffalo Bills. And when these two teams interacted a couple of years ago, and I say that off the field, it all came down to the trade that sent Khalil Mack away from the then Oakland Raiders to the Bears for a bevy of picks. Now, Mack was viewed as one of, if not one of the better, if not the best defensive player in the NFL at that time. And he's done okay with Chicago. But the thing is this, I think a lot of people expected him to be more than what he was or what he could be. Number one. Number two, I've always said that the Bears have wasted it because they haven't gotten it together offensively consistently. But for Chicago right now, they hope that the future is now with Justin Fields at quarterback. He looked solid last week against the Detroit Lions, and he's going to try to find a way to build off of that. This Raiders defense is improving, and it's going to be interesting to see how the youngster in Fields looks against them. But on the flip side, this Bears defense going up against this Raiders offense, and the Bears must find a way to get to Derek Carr. And if they can't get to Derek Carr with their front seven, it could be a long afternoon. The Raiders are the better team. Thus, I'm going to take Vegas at home by the score of 30-19. Now, one of the games that has the potential to be one of the better games of the weekend, you're going to have the 3-1 Cleveland Browns traveling to Inglewood to take on the 3-1 Los Angeles Chargers. And for the Browns, we know about their injuries right now. Baker Mayfield, credit to him. He's playing through a torn labrum. That's not an easy injury to work through, but you know what? He's a fighter, and he's going to go out there and gut it out and try to give his team an opportunity to win. If Baker I see with the Baker Mayfield injury, I see the Chargers trying to stack that box a little more to try to take away that run game of Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb to try to force Baker to use his arm to defeat them. So it's going to be important for Kevin Stefanski to try to come up with a good game plan to try to confuse this Chargers defense. For Los Angeles, Justin Herbert is playing with a ton of confidence right now. The Chargers as a whole are playing with a ton of confidence. And everything on paper says take the Chargers, but I think the Browns are going to find a way to pull this one out. This one going to take Cleveland on the road by the score of 31-27. Now you're going to have the 1-3 New York Football Giants traveling to Arlington to take on the 3-1 Dallas Cowboys. And things are coming full circle for Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott, because in week 5 last year is when he suffered that horrific leg injury, and it was at home versus the same New York Football Giants. Dak is back now. He's 100%. He looks very confident, and he is not showing any signs of the previous injury that he had. And because of that, this Dallas this Dallas offense rather, is really rolling, which means that the Giants defense is going to have their hands full tomorrow afternoon. The Giants team, they're playing with a ton of confidence after they went on the road last week and upset New Orleans. Most importantly, Daniel Jones, their young quarterback, is starting to show signs that, you know what, he can be something. He's more confident in the pocket. He's more confident with the football. And I think a lot of that is a credit to the fact that this is the first time that he's had the same offensive coordinator in Jason Garrett for 2 consecutive years. But the bottom line is this: Dallas is the class of this division. They are the team to beat. I said that coming into this season, and I don't see the Cowboys slowing down in this game. This is going to take Dallas by the score of 31-17. Now you're going to have the 2-2 San Francisco 49ers traveling to the desert to take on the undefeated Arizona Cardinals. And for Arizona right now, they have set the pace in this NFC West as everybody else in this division is trying to keep up with them. And for the Niners, they know how important this game is because it was just 2 weeks ago that San Francisco was 2-0. They've now lost 2 games at home, and one of them being a divisional game as they fell last week to Seattle. With Jimmy Garoppolo out, San Francisco is going with rookie quarterback Trey Lance versus a very stingy Cardinals defense that includes J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones. So this is what Trey Lance is going to have to deal with in his first game. No George Kittle at tight end as the 49ers just put him on injured reserve, and that's really going to take away from what they can do in their passing attack. Kyler Murray is playing like an MVP right now at quarterback for the Cards, and I don't see the Niners being able to slow him and this offense down. This I'm going to take Arizona at home by the score of 30-20. Now, tomorrow night on Sunday Night Football, you're going to have the 3-1 Buffalo Bills traveling to Arrowhead to take on the 2-2 Kansas City Chiefs. And for Kansas City, they look like they got back on track last week when they went on the road and beat the Philadelphia Eagles, as their offense really looked like it was coming into its own. And I think the defense fed off of that. But you can't just think that every output is going to, every outcome or every time you take the field is going to be like that. Because, like I said before in previous podcasts, teams around the league are starting to catch up with the Chiefs and what they want to do on offense. So now it's time for the Chiefs to make that adjustment. And this game right here is important for both clubs because the Bills, they want to make a statement because they feel like they have what it takes to get out of the AFC this year. They lost to Kansas City last year in the AFC Championship game, and they're trying to build off of that. I say that because we saw Buffalo lose in week number 1 at home to Pittsburgh. Ever since then, they've been beating the brakes off of teams, but they've been beating the brakes off of the also rans. And I still think, I know Kansas City's 2-2, but it's early. And I think the Chiefs at some point are going to get their sea legs and get on a roll. So for Buffalo, they've got to go out there and try to make a statement. Kansas City wants to make a statement as well, showing this on Buffalo and saying, hey, listen, you're not there yet. So I look at this contest. I think Buffalo wants to go out there, number one, with their offense, with quarterback Josh Allen, and try to put some pressure on this Kansas City defense. For this Bills defense, they've got to get their pass rush to Patrick Mahomes because I've said it before. If you cannot get enough pressure on Patrick Mahomes, you are not going to have a chance to slow down this Chiefs offense. That's the bottom line. Buffalo wants this game, but I think Kansas City wants it a little bit more. And I'm going to take the Chiefs at home by the score of 34-30. And finally, on Sunday Night Football, you're going to have the 1-3 Indianapolis Colts traveling to take on the 3-1 Baltimore Ravens. And Baltimore comes into this game favored by a touchdown at home. I know that Baltimore has had a bevy of injuries, but the bottom line is they still have Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson is a bad man with the football in his hands, whether as a runner or as a passer. And the scary thing for Lamar Jackson right now, or the scary thing for the rest of the NFL in regards to Lamar Jackson, is that he is becoming a better passer from the pocket. Because, I mean, he has the scrambling ability. And, Lamar Jackson in the open field is as dangerous as anybody who's ever played this game. So now you are adding to that dynamic with Lamar with the ball in his hands in the pocket. And he has that cohesion with the likes of Hollywood Brown and Sammy Watkins. It could be a long evening for this Colts defense. Carson Wentz is trying to gut it out with the injuries right now. I know that Baltimore has their injuries on defense, but I still think that they find a way to put enough pressure on Mr. Wentz. Thus, I'm going to take Baltimore at home by the score of 29-20. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take the time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you are on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 pounds of sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out, drop a line, and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.